I think every person has done this at some point with their crush. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That moment when you hit send on a message, and suddenly, it feels like the whole world goes silent. Your heart's beating a little. Faster, you're staring at your phone like it's going to turn into a magic lamp if you just look hard enough. Refresh, refresh. Nothing. Maybe she's busy, right? Maybe she didn't see it yet. So you keep convincing yourself that any minute now, that little typing bubble is going to pop up and it'll all be fine. But then the minutes turn into hours, and those hours feel like whole days. Your mind starts racing. What if I said the wrong thing? Should I have waited longer? Should I send another one? Something casual like, hey, just checking in? And that's where it begins, the internal battle. Do I follow up? Will I look needy? Maybe I should double text. No, wait, that looks desperate. I've been there. We've all been there. I remember one of my boys telling me about a time he sent like 5 little just making sure you saw this text to a girl he was crushing on. In his mind, it was caring. But in reality, it just came across like begging. And the more he tried to get a response, the more distant she became. That's the harsh truth about chasing people who aren't giving you the same energy. It's like running full speed on a treadmill that's going nowhere. You're sweating, exhausted, but you haven't moved an inch closer to what you want. And that's when it hit me. What if the real power wasn't in doing more, but in doing nothing at all? The first thing you've got to understand is that silence isn't weakness, it's strength. Most people don't get this. They think if someone's ignoring them, the solution is to try harder, send more texts, make their presence felt. But that's not how attraction works. Imagine you're in a store just browsing and the salesperson won't leave you alone. Need help? Sure? Are you sure you're sure? It doesn't make you want to buy something, it makes you want to leave. That's exactly what happens when you keep messaging someone who's clearly not responding. It doesn't pull them closer, it pushes them further away. And here's the part most people miss. Silence creates curiosity. When you stop chasing, you give the other person space to wonder. Why hasn't he texted? Did he lose interest? Is he talking to someone else? That curiosity is powerful. Think about it like this. Ever had a song stuck in your head just because you didn't hear the whole thing? That's what silence does. It lingers. It makes people think. And the truth is, people don't value things they think they can have, anytime they want. Constant availability isn't attractive, it's predictable. Mystery is what sparks curiosity. Predictability makes people bored, so you've got a choice. Do you want to be the guy who floods her phone and gets ignored, or the guy whose silence actually gets noticed? That's the shift. Silence isn't doing nothing, it's doing something smarter. And here's the craziest part. When you finally stop chasing, you start flipping the whole situation around. You go from the one waiting for a message to the one people wonder about. And that's where everything starts to change. Here's where things get really interesting. The reversal effect. See, when you stop chasing someone, you're not just pulling back for the sake of your pride, you're creating space. And space is where the shift happens. People don't usually notice what's right in front of them until it's gone. It's like when you're always the one texting first, always initiating plans, always checking in. The moment you stop, the other person suddenly starts to notice that gap. They might even wonder, wait, why hasn't he texted? Did something change? That little spark of curiosity is how you shift the energy in your favor. It's not about manipulation, it's about balance. Real relationships, real connections, don't happen with one person doing all the work while the other just enjoys the attention. It's gotta be mutual. And if it's not, then you're just wasting your energy trying to build something one-sided. I've seen this happen to people I know. They were always the one chasing, always the one proving their worth. But the moment they stopped, suddenly the same people who ignored them started asking, "Where have you been?" But here's the thing. Not everyone will notice. And that's actually a good thing. Because if someone doesn't even notice your absence, they definitely didn't value your presence. Why would you keep fighting for a seat at a table where you're not even appreciated? The reversal effect is about regaining your position, not just in their eyes, but in your own. It's about proving to yourself that you deserve someone who meets you halfway, someone who matches your effort, not just someone who keeps you around for convenience. And once you fully embrace that, you stop chasing and you start choosing. This is the part no one talks about, the transformation that happens when you stop focusing on them and start focusing on you. That's where the real shift begins. All. That time you spent staring at your phone, waiting for a reply, refreshing the chat window, rereading your own texts like you're analyzing ancient scripts, that's energy. And energy is powerful. But what if you took that same energy and pointed it inward instead of outward? That's when things start to move. Growth isn't just about filling your time, it's about leveling up who you are. Maybe you've been thinking about hitting the gym but never actually made it happen. Maybe there's a skill you've been meaning to learn. Maybe you've drifted from friends who actually care about you. All of that is waiting for your attention, but you've been too distracted waiting for someone else to give you validation. The truth is, validation feels good, but transformation feels better. I remember hearing about this guy who was heartbroken after being ghosted by someone he thought was the one. Instead of drowning in texts and waiting, he decided to train for a marathon. Not because he wanted to impress her, but because he wanted to prove something to himself. By the time she finally reached out months later, he didn't even care. His life had expanded so far beyond that moment of rejection. That's the kind of energy I'm talking about. Not petty, not revenge, not bitterness. Growth. You don't become better to make someone regret losing you. You become better because you deserve to live fully regardless of who stays or who leaves. And when you build yourself like that, everything else, relationships, opportunities, confidence, they start coming to you instead of you chasing them. That's real power. Now here's the part that really matters. Clarity. When you finally take a step back and focus on your own growth, you start to see everything differently. It's like cleaning a foggy mirror. At first, your emotions are all mixed up, clouding your judgment. You're chasing an idea, not reality. But the more you focus on yourself, the clearer everything becomes. You start to realize that maybe she wasn't really into you like you thought. Maybe the signs were always there, but you didn't want to see them because you were too focused on hoping things would work out. And honestly, that's one of the hardest pills to swallow. Not because it hurts to admit someone wasn't into you, but because you realize how much of your own energy you gave away for free. But clarity isn't just about seeing them clearly. It's about seeing yourself clearly, too. What do you actually want? What do you deserve? What kind of relationship are you willing to accept? Too many people settle because they're afraid to be alone. But once you gain clarity, you'd rather be alone than with someone who doesn't fully choose you. That's the shift. And the beautiful part? If they finally do reach out one day, you're not desperate for it. You're not waiting by the phone like before. You're calm, steady, grounded. You'll know exactly how to handle it because you'll be approaching it from strength, not weakness. If they're serious, cool. You can talk. If they're not, you can let it go without flinching. Because clarity gives you confidence, and confidence gives you peace. And when you're at peace, you don't chase. You attract. You don't beg. You decide. And when you finally get there, trust me, nothing feels better than that.